Fabulous. All right. Well, that's the roundup of our cool online tools for tonight, which brings us to our main session for tonight. Now, we did have some challenges tonight. So we're in the wings. We've got Jim Dorash. Say hi to Jim. So Jim works for a company called Talk AI. Hasn't always been there. He talks with a funny accent, so I forgive him when he comes on. He does come from some other different part of the world. But he assures me he's strongly Australian, and he's been here for quite some time. But he works with a couple of fellows there that have created this incredible service there, which is voice-generated outbound, inbound calling. So unfortunately, the creators of the tool there, I got a call about an hour ago to say they had a massive tech issue with one of their clients. They couldn't come and make it tonight because it was urgent. They just needed to sort this out with one of their major clients. Jim was already coming along as well too. He's just been thrust into the limelight to really sort of show you how this tool works, or really the possibilities with the tool, which is great news. So Jim, by self-confession, will tell you he's not a tech guy. But what he has done with it, he's been able to put some of this tech language into layperson's terms and able to talk with us in a way that hopefully we'll be able to understand it. He's really dumbed it down for me. So, if he's done that for me, then that should be good for everyone here as well too. So, without further ado, let's welcome to the stage, Jim Dorash.
Hey, Nick, thank you very much for the introduction and kind words. Yes, I'm not a tech person, but I do know enough to be able to help everyone through this process and really take advantage of this cool process for their business. The accent is Canadian, but I've been down here in Australia for about 26 years. And an Australian citizen as well. So that is my sole passport at the present time. And enjoying the beautiful weather in Brisbane right now, the cold and rain. But we can now get into the presentation. Again, the boys pass on their sincere apologies for not being able to attend tonight. But like I say, be able to walk everyone through this presentation, be able to answer some questions, and be able to take your next steps if you're interested in proceeding along as well. So just moving on to the next slide. So yeah, Voice AI, the tech team is in Melbourne and Sydney based. And I'm up here in Queensland. So we got 3 of the 7 states covered, and definitely national and going international with our brand. And into the next, and we have an example coming up. And this is Jack, the creator, an example of how it works. That. Oh, there you go.
More about what they are. Maybe inbound and outbound. Right, yeah, she has a lot of stuff to that. Yeah, I guess we're vibing. Let's have a chat with the team. So we wait.
Hopefully you're able to hear that. That's just be able to give you that idea of an example of how it is an actual voice that you are hearing, and a conversation as well. So, and be able to, that can be created to suit any business needs. Just go on to the next slide, Nick.
Now that was a little difficult to hear, I think,
Yeah,
for some people, but I think there is an example on the website which we can share with them later on. So if you do want to go and check it out on the website, you can do that.
Yeah, and just let me know too, and I can forward you this pitch deck as well. And like I say, just to with this, the whole industry is moving forward. AI voice agents has been progressing rapidly and being picked up, and it's becoming and it will become the norm, and probably in the next couple of years. Right now is opportunity to be on the leading edge for those businesses looking to take on, those business to consumer businesses that are looking to take on this voice AI component. And like I say, back to the rationale, is like majority of our conversations are there anyways for people to people, face to face. We did the Zoom calls, or started Zoom calls back when COVID hit, and so on. And this is now taking it to another level, and smarter conversations as well, being able to know that you'll be able to ensure that conversation gets the information through that you wanted to. As Nick mentioned earlier, we could end up doing this whole presentation could be done in AI probably in the next little while, and ensuring that all the key points are hit along the way, and be able to answer any questions that you have as well. And like I say, part of this is, like I say, back with AI, is essentially humans adapting to manage machines. Next slide. And then now being able to make the machine smarter. So with the Chat GPT, it's really likened to installing advanced machines in factories. So it's just the industrial revolution in the 21st century. And part of the history as it's gone through, and a rapid progression in the last 5 years. Really being able to take, just with those advancements with voice technology, and in the last 2 years, really taking hold as an introduction to now implementation of AI voice. And say, what are voice agents? Essentially, it's just a matter of the individuals to be able to make phone calls, right? So to be able to take inbound and outbound phone calls, communicating and freeing up yourself, business owners, to focus on more important parts of their business, growing their business, being able to save money as well, being able to reallocate resources from people who in the past have made phone calls to either adding them to their sales team or in other areas of their business. Speech recognition is there to transform spoken words to text, and that's all it is. You'll see in the next couple of slides going how it does work. So it's text to words, goes through our process of being various APIs and making adding intelligence to that conversation, and then getting it put out in the process in making those phone calls. And that's where it is here, right? This is transcriber into the model with the APIs and intelligence, and then it's back to text to speech, and for those phone calls. And those phone calls are interaction. So it's not just a matter of just a person speaking. It's not a monologue. It is interaction in those phone calls, and it's being able to smart enough to be able to manage those phone calls.
So Jim, this is a combination of a number of AI tools that are available on the market. It's just been packaged up in a particular way to create a process there, speech to text, then it sort of converts it or does something with it, with something like ChatGPT, and then it gets an answer out, which is in text, which is converted into speech, which is the voice that comes through the other end.
Absolutely. And then it's an open API, open AI platform that the boys have been able to modify and making it unique, and then still be able to make it to fit into every client's requirements as well. So the next, and again, this is the same thing, same piece, just the different technologies that have gone from inputting the information through what our server does, making it business specific, functions and tools, and other integrations and another API or AI integrations into the platform, into that model, and then coming out as that voice projection.
And so that business specific, that's about feeding it in information about your particular business, like services, all that sort of stuff.
What you need is, and like say, be able to go down the track when we can have that conversation with some of our guests, is to be able to go, what are you looking for from that type of phone call? So it's depending on the use that you have, whether it's going to be used as for accounts receivable, for say debt collection, what type of conversation you need for that. You're looking for lead generation, that type of phone, the call that's required for that, inbound, taking calls, but able and adding value to those phone calls as well. So it's again, you're freeing up people to do other tasks while improving your communication with your clients as well.
And probably a whole lot more accurate too, is it? So people not making stuff up.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, because in a busy time when you're making a phone call, and if you are time urgent for a human, are you hitting all the key points that you're supposed to have in that phone call? And a lot of times you're not. Some people do those phone calls really well, others don't. Where this way you get to the point where you can perfect your message, then the message and the wording that you want to get to your clients, and then that's replicated. And it just makes the whole premise that much more successful. And that's what it is. So for the talk structure, okay, so the layers we talked about, bringing in the specific business tools and the functions, it's integrations, of having a conversation that can then follow up with an email or sending a text. There's thousands of integrations and applications that are able to be integrated into these phone calls, so that it becomes very specific. It's not, like I say, it's not a one-stop shop. It is a one-stop shop, but not every phone call is the same. And that's not one piece. We're not going to, more than likely, won't have the same calls being generated for each client. Everyone will have their own requirements, and we'll be able to meet your requirements as well. And that's what created.
So this could effectively link into a CRM. And
yes,
so
absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And that's the thing, where you get your information, and there's exactly that. And it's just, and be able to, same thing, be able to have at the end of the day, you get your call logs, and there'll all be printouts and so on. So if you're looking to get more information out of those phone calls as well, so it becomes a research piece as well.
So essentially, you could probably get those call logs and feed that back into the system. So you're starting to build the database of information, the questions that people are asking, the sorts of answers that are coming out, which then just starts to improve the quality of the output later on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I say the phone call, the API or that voice, that agent gets smarter and be able to know how to answer more calls. But also, like we were mentioning before, if there's an issue or it comes to a point where they realize that they're talking with an AI agent, they want to talk to a human, no worries if the call gets transferred. If the agent can't answer a question, same thing, that gets replicated, that gets noted, and that information will be sent back to a live agent to be able to either answer the call at the time or return the call later if it's, say, if the call's been made in the middle of the night, per se. And like say, why AI? And I mean, there's so many, this is only there's only 8 points to this. There's so many more ways to benefits for this program. But it's operating continuously without breaks. There's no coffee breaks. There's no lunch breaks. It's 24/7, and it's continually on the go. Operating multiple time zones. So if you are a company that is international, it continues to operate. These also can be done, the voices can be done in any language, in any accent. So I've already had talks with clients in the US, and them saying, well, we don't really want an Australian accent. And it's like, fine, no worries. Which part of the US are you targeting? We can create a voice in that accent, whether it's Australian, UK, Canadian, American, whatever, that can be done. Male, female. Age, maturity of the voice, tone, and so on. There's just, the opportunities endless. Cloning as well is one of the bigger pieces of this as well. So if your voice is your brand and you want to be talking to these people as one of your touch points, we can create your voice as well. The cost efficiency, again, multiple. This is just a touch of the tip of the iceberg, but handling multiple calls simultaneously, making calls out the same way. again, you're looking at efficiencies of cost. Right now with, like, say, if a call agent in Australia, you're probably looking at about $70,000, $75,000 for expenses to cover that person, that one seat. This is a fraction of the cost. And again, being able to become more efficient in that space. Customer experience, reduce wait times. So on the phone call the other day to a doctor to make an appointment, on hold, having to go through various steps, where this could be just done bang, bang, bang. Making a phone call is received, sees that I get to the doctor that I want, get the time that I want, or ask for a time. If it's available, great. If not, I get an alternative, and it's done. Analytics, the same thing. It's a huge part for like a fan engagement, customer engagement piece, surveying your customers and your clients and your database, get all kinds of different insights that, again, most cases would be people that you would want to do them, but do you have the time and do you have the budget to be able to do them on a regular basis, especially surveying? And again, back in getting in the sentiment resolution and so on, where everybody here in Queensland over the last month received a bunch of texts from the various political parties. Now this could be an AI phone call. I wouldn't doubt the next time there'll be an AI phone call, and be able to have a bit more interjection and a better conversation, and especially for the political party, getting more information across.
And presumably, the AI caller is not going to be upset if you're upset with the policies of the government, and you let it know.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, and it goes as long as you want, right? So it's not about being stuck in with those timelines. And then back to cost. In-house, like we were saying before, gets to be very expensive. It's the cost of doing business. And having experienced that myself, and you're always looking to reduce costs. And then especially if you're an ownership perspective, how can you reduce costs? You go from an in-house call center to an AI call center, massive savings, not just in the fact of staffing, but also potentially in your building costs and so on. Like say a call center that used to have 400 people, you don't need that call center. And now that's the savings of a rental savings on top of things. Back where the call center is, the VAs, I've got a couple of VAs I'm working with that are going to be looking to take this on as adding this service to their clients. And that's where AI sits on the fact that it's more effective and the costs are significantly reduced. Mark, you have a question?
No, I'll wait until you finish presenting, Jim.
Okay, cool, no worries. And back into real world cases, lead gen, definitely. And that can be done in various different ways. Like I say, with the real estate is probably the easiest one. Where again, you get a listing. I've been a real estate agent, and knowing most people don't do this, is you're supposed to contact all the people in the suburb to see if, to let them be aware that there's a house for sale, and hey, there's an open for inspection on the Saturday, but also going, hey, are you looking to sell? Do you know anyone who's looking to buy and to move? What are you looking to do? And this way, this AI voice can get to all the people in the suburb. You can own the suburb if you're a real estate agent now. The qualification, same thing, is going, what are you looking to do to be able to really understand, are those people buying? Are they tire kickers? Appointment setting, again, when you're going into your client, your business to consumer, talking to your consumers to be able to set up those appointments for come out and have a visit. Database cleansing, got a mate, he's got 30,000 people on his database in real estate. He'll never get to them all. And this is one way he can now fine tune to start getting through them and find out the ones who are, and it will make him money. For the cost, it'll be one sale will be more than enough to cover the cost of what this will do for him. Inbound customer support, obviously can be like a receptionist, taking calls in, then disseminating them a call across the business, depending on which area they're looking to do. And there's so many other purposes. So like say, looking at one of the key things I think will be is accounts receivable. where people, again, if you look at Seek every month, there's one of the highest amount of jobs that's being advertised is accounts receivable clerks. These are the people having to make those phone calls continuously to try and clean up some debts. And it's vitally important for the business, but also they end up having to go through staff after staff after staff of coming and going. Where this way, the AI makes the phone call, gets to the point where that person, if the person doesn't want to pay and is offended, they get mad. AI doesn't take it personally. They keep going and make another phone call. And then next is when they do get to somebody who wants to make a payment. No worries. Awesome. Thank you. And calls transferred to the human who can now take the payment. And it's all been made simple and immensely more efficient. Same thing with sole traders and tradies, an opportunity to have a voice that you can now have a messaging that is interactive and engaging to your potential customers coming through, and you're not losing them to, like, say, somebody who's just who just called to leave a message on an answering machine. Call and I'll get back to you. That's like, no, it's more interactive and more educational. And so that you come through, you get the phone call, you know what they want, and you can answer a problem immediately. So it's just massively more efficient and customer friendly. And now the process is what we do as like say, after dealing, say, with me, we go into a strategy session with Jack, to create, and then development, integration, and then maintenance. And then we'll have more steps and a little bit more information on the next slide. Is back into that strategy. A couple of days, sort out your strategy, making sure that what you want, we can do. Then it's the development of that voice and making sure that everything works according to plan. And from your strategy to development, and then another week or two to integrate it into the system, integrate it into our system, and then it's leveraged for yourself. And then over the course of the year is just ongoing maintenance. So making sure if there's adjustments to the message that need to be made, that can be done, and seeing how effective your calls are. It's similar to changing the script on any of your call center or any of your salespeople would be making at the same time. And then if, like, say, here, a quick one is, yeah, if it's right, what's your call volume? What are you doing for pre and post call action? So we do that. The concurrency is like just being able to go how many calls, we can make calls continually and multiple at the same time. And then we can add in API access. So it becomes that significantly more efficient, and really being able to give you what you wish, what you want. Your imagination will be your limitation when it comes to these calls. And right now, you'll be part of the early adopters. So it's a matter of, like, again, you can get this is an opportunity to be ahead of your competition. And right now, I know I've talked to several people, a significant number of people in the past who've been like, AI, voice. No, sorry, I don't want to do that. Don't know enough. It's like, no worries. Let's say AI needs PR, basically, is be able to go, okay, what's this going to do? How is it going to work? What effects is it going to have in the workforce? I say some people will be, their jobs, some might be replaced completely. Others will be reallocated to other roles in their organization, because it won't be and the organization, say, if it's struggling too financially, this gives the owner and the business a significant buffer in their cash flow, depending on how many people they have selling. And back to real estate or any salesperson who has to be at their desk for half a day making calls. Now the only calls you make, the AI makes those phone calls now to set your appointments, and now you're making sales calls. You're not making inquiring calls. So every salesperson becomes that much more efficient, because I've done, again, roles in the past where I'm on the phone all the time. You get stuck on the phone, and you're not doing what gets you paid, what makes you money. You're being distracted by other things, where this allows you to get out there and make money for yourself, and obviously make money for your business. Yep. And so, yes, stay ahead of the curve. So any questions? And thank you again, Nick, for appreciate your support today and be able to take any questions you have.
Excellent. So, all right, well, we will take some questions, and I think we'll also hopefully be thinking about your business as we've been talking, as you've been listening to this and thinking about some use cases. I've got some use cases already, Jim, to throw at you. But if you're thinking about, or you've got some questions about how you could deploy this in your business, let's have a chat about it and so workshop some of that here. There might be some interesting ideas that come out. Mark.
Yeah, just I guess in support of, I've had the benefit of what others haven't, so I've had a bit of a look behind the curtain with this. So I've spent a bit of time with Jim, and just in terms of, he mentioned someone before him with like a list of 35,000 contacts. Let's say you had 3 full-time staff members doing sales calls. So not only, and yes, some of us do watch your pre-promos, Nick. So I watched your pre-promo today on today's course and on today's event. So, those 3 people at, let's say, $50,000 each in a call center. Then you've got, as you said, they have toilet breaks, they have sick days, they have mental health days. They only work 5 days a week. This thing runs 24/7. So there may be reallocation of employees, but there's a very high-end real estate agent on the Gold Coast not using this, but something similar, not quite as good. And they've now redeployed those people into full-on key sales roles, and they're making 3 times the amount of money. Just incredible. So what this, I guess, they lose on one end, they make back on the other end in terms of where they redeploy their people. And this is, from what I've seen, it's utilizable from a small business to a corporate. It's just brilliant. And it runs 24/7 when you're asleep. As Jim said, it runs overseas. So if you're dealing with different countries like I am, you can literally run while you're asleep. And the voices, I think there's over 1,000 sample voices, isn't that right, Jim, that they can pull from? And then if they get enough sample of your own voice, then they can actually use your own voice as well, correct?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah,
if you're
so-
your own brand, it's like a real estate agent, all those different touch points. Your first one is an AI call to all the neighbors, then they come in and see you on the open house, and then you continue that conversation.
Yeah, but then also, not only does it have the ongoing conversations, it'll book your calendar appointments, and basically all you need to do is turn up and close the sale.
Yep.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen, it's extremely impressive. It's very good. And a few people mentioned in the chat that they couldn't hear anything when the video is running, so they can go to your website, correct, and just try it themselves, like actually talk AI.
There's a voice, there's a phone number there you can call. Like I said, I'll be able to have this pitch deck. Contact me, and I'll be able to send it to you as well.
Okay.
So you get it, you'll see that.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It is really interesting going to the website. I've just put the website link into chat there, and if you make the phone call to the AI, you can ask it anything. And so it's amazing sort of how the breadth of information that it'll cover as well too. So go and try and trick it. Sort of trick the machine. It's pretty hard to trick actually. So it does well. There is a question in there from Deep. Did you want to come and ask the question there, Deep?
Oh, hi, Nick. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Deep.
I'm from New Zealand, guys, and I'm following business online for a while now. So, look, I'm a mortgage and insurance broker, and I really believe that this sort of a tool has got a great potential. I'm just trying to see this for our industry, where if we have got clients on insurance, we are obliged to make review calls if their situation has changed. So these type of tools can really take so much of work from our plate. So I'm just trying to understand that as a use case. Then another is like, if we are doing a lot of lead generation and we want to speak to first home buyers, we want to make sure, we are qualifying them. Are they even, good leads? So that is really time consuming. And I spend a lot of time, doing all this. And I think this sort of a tool is available. It can be really a game changer. So in terms of cost or development or deployment, what are we looking?
What you
The cost of it,
Like
Jim.
the-
So
Oh,
yeah,
depend. Well, like I say, that's what having a meeting with Jack. They'll be able to go through your requirements.
Right.
And because there's like say there's three costs, the three parts of the cost. One is the build. There's a 27-cent call rate for the time of the phone calls, and then there's a management. There's be a potential management fee as well that goes through the year. There's no lock-in contracts, no lock-in agreements, so a matter of getting started, see how it works. If it doesn't suit, you're not getting the results you want.
Mhm.
That can be canceled, or hopefully what we do is we just change the information on the call to be able to suit your needs, and we just keep.
Perfect.
But like say for yourself, it's perfect. You're right. It is perfect for contacting. If you've got your data list of people who you need to contact, and like say from that can even be generated from knowing who's listed there, whose homes have been listed, and be able to pull those phone numbers to be able to make those phone calls. To be able to go, they're going to be buying. So to be able to see if they're looking to need a mortgage as well. And for yourself, contacting other real estate agents to be able to leverage your services. So, and as well.
Great. Thank you.
as you having been or run a mortgage broking company for 10 years, one of the things that I immediately see coming to mind is that there's always, people need to send in pay slips, bank statements, all of that sort of stuff there. If there's anything that holds it up, we're just waiting on the information, and generally it's a phone call to them just to say, have you got it, sort of thing, or have employed someone to do it. But with a tool like this, it's just scheduled to give them a call in sort of a day or 2 days or whatever it is, and it just handles it automatically.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, or maybe even you've got a scenario that you want to sort of throw through to Jim, and how would that work? Have to say, Jim, one of the I'm actually working with a client at the moment, and we're organising. I'm doing the marketing for an expo they're doing in Hamilton, New Zealand next year, and having sort of been on a number of expos where we've got. We used to get 5,000 leads out of a home shows, and so that had set us up for a quarter to actually ring them through. But it relied on having people ring them, and it relied on what sort of mood they were in when they actually made the calls. I can imagine sort of something like this for those expo leads, because they get cold. The longer you leave them, the colder they get. So being able to contact like 5,000 leads in the space of the first week is going to be a massive opportunity.
Oh, 100%. And that's the whole thing is it's about urgency and to be able to have that information. And again, the consistency of the message from the company going out. So that it's continually you hit the mark all the time. And I believe it is the consistency of messaging so that it's not about somebody having a bad day. It is about being able to inquire and engage, because it's going to be the first point of contact for that potential client with your company. Is that a good experience or not? And I think we've all had experiences with call centers in the past, or people making phone calls to you that are just horrible, and the person and just goes sideways, and that business has lost, that client has lost money immediately. And I think for me, I look at other opportunities. Like say I was a former membership manager in the Western Bulldogs and the AFL, and at the end of June, we were tidying up our membership numbers, and so we did use a call center to make the calls to try and clean up to get the last few members across the line. And so that call center consisted of essentially a lot of backpackers and a few people who knew what they're doing in call centers, but just people doing a part-time job. And did they know our product well enough? Don't know. Some loved us. Western Bulldogs at the time, we were the least popular member club in Melbourne. We never won, and so on. Lots of other things to go with that. But we didn't have a lot of fans. So we had people making calls that not necessarily were on brand with us. Where this way, I know we'd be on brand. Plus, we would have been more efficient, more money. We would have saved more money. We would have been able to run continual conversations throughout the course of the year for the same amount of money we spent just getting the last 5,000 members. Because we broke even at that point. I'm going, which bottom line do we want? And it's like, well, number of members was important, not the cost. And like this way, you get the cost savings on top of the efficiencies of that. And to be able to survey, to ensure that we were going in the right direction. So if you have a database, this is, you know, vital. It's really to be able to go, you need to talk to your people and be able to segment them. And you can get more information on these users as well. Because like I said, I've talked to a butcher and I said, you have a database? He says, yes. I'm not on it. No, because you have you segmented. You understand what I want. And I go, well, I wanted a turkey. It's Christmas. Didn't get a call. I wanted prawns. Didn't get a call. So if you got that information, you can do that. And if with that information, this allows you to communicate.
Mm. Mark, you had another question? Another comment?
Yeah, just a question slash comment. A few people are asking about money and the money's in the calls, etc. So just as a, and correct me if I'm wrong again, Jim, but as a ballpark example, when we spoke to the boys one-on-one, it was around six to 10,000 roughly, in terms of initials. So even if you were just to compare that to one person just doing full-time calls 40 hours a week, that $50,000 plus super plus PAYG plus payroll tax and sick days and everything else, there's literally no comparison. And it's operating 24/7. So Mike's also asked there in the chat, what if my list is only small? Well, it doesn't have to just target your list. You can be out there targeting other businesses that aren't on your list. So unlike me, Dr. Chris has got 10,000 friends on LinkedIn because people like him. People don't like me. So, you know, for his 10,000 list on LinkedIn, that's just perfect. How long would it take Dr. Chris to call those 10,000 people, gather the data, go to their info on LinkedIn, get all their details? It'd be just a nightmare. So again, he'd be sitting there for weeks on end to even try and collect the data. It'd be crazy.
And then some of the things too, I've talked to people and they've said, well, we have, you come into our website and you put in your information and for your request. And so again, there's a lack of say proper contact or not that voice contact. So is there proper engagement? No. And then somebody still has to follow up. Where this way, if they're making the phone call in, if you get them, hey, now you make calls. And then so the AI agent answers the call and can then can facilitate that to a solution or transfer the call. And so again, it's acted upon now, not later. And another example for me, which I looked at as being the sports guy that I am, say a golf course, and this can be across a variety of different businesses. But if you're looking to book a tee time and you go, okay, cool, I want to book a tee time Friday at 1 o'clock. Call in, the AI goes, sorry, we don't have that time taken, but we have 1:30. Awesome, I'm in, great, thank you. And they go, hey, by the way, if you're looking to drop into the 19th hole, we have 4X for sale. Great deal, awesome. Oh, and if you're, hey, by the way, too, you want to be, you want to come up for dinner? We can book reservations. We can book you into our restaurant. And when you go to sign up, when you book in to get ready to hit the links, titles are for sale in the clubhouse or in the pro shop. So, I mean, you're upselling and you're selling, you've got sponsor messages that you can include into this as well. All kinds of different ways of educating your customers, but also adding value to your partners and business partners.
And presumably with something like this, Jim, like if you had a particular campaign running, like for us, for instance, you know, we've got the Canva course, which is happening tomorrow. That's our particular campaign we've been running over the past month or so to get the registration. Like we could run that through for 4 weeks or so. Once that closes off, then we can move on to the next campaign to fill that as well too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing, because I mean, everyone's got those timelines, and it's just adjusting as you go. And people will then get used to hearing from you, and especially if they have the message that they want. So it's like it's not about spamming them, it's about informing them and educating them. And
And what was that? What was that expression? The money's in the follow-up, or the fortune's in the follow-up. And most businesses are not following up enough. And sometimes it's not until you get it to about the 7th or 8th, touch point or follow-up or whatever, that's when things actually start to happen and money changes hands.
Absolutely. And I think too, it's almost like you mentioned before, for the fear of cold calling, right? Because I think it's a Jerry Seinfeld comedian thing. It's like going, people hate public speaking. And so like say at a funeral, you'd rather be the one dead than the one speaking. And I think the same thing with comes into the cold calls. It's like, do you want to do it? No, you have to do it. Yes. But can you do it well? Most likely no, right? And because you go, well, I'm not a phone call guy. I'm a relationship manager. So it's like, now it's now an opportunity. So many people who are good talkers that aren't great on the phone can now get through, and because they have the leads ready for them.
Jim, I wish I'd known this several years ago. I used to spend, I used to sort of sit down at 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon, 4:30 to 7:30, making all my calls to book out my appointments for the week. It was the worst ever time, and I had to make sure that I had a glass of red at home so I had something to look forward to.
Work your way through. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're a business B2C, right? Because just had a chat with a gentleman the other day, and he said B2B, and it's a tougher piece, B2B. But as long as if you have the contact phone number of the person you need to talk to at a higher level, then it works fine. But generally, if it's like from the B2C, it's perfect. And the same thing incoming. If you like say back to the tradies who are not struggling, but it's an added cost, but it's a cost of doing business that again saves you from having a horrible answering service. Because so many people called somebody thinking, oh, cool, I got somebody. And it's like, no, you got their answering service. I'll send them a message. And it's like, great. So a text still goes to them. Are they going to see that? When are they going to see that? Who knows?
And
this
often
way you have more
they don't
certainty.
answer, they lose the business.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, because you just go, no, sorry, thanks, goodbye, move on, move up. I'll find somebody who I can talk to. And even if it's an AI voice, at least you're talking to somebody. And especially like say back in the real estate side, if you're doing the rentals, when somebody's hot water system breaks at 10 at night, they're freaking out. They want to talk to somebody. And so now they can make the call into the real estate office takes the call, knows that it's for a plumber, boom, off to the plumbers. And so it gets routed immediately. And so you got happy people. You don't have somebody sitting there on call in that office waiting for something to go wrong.
What have we got? Mike, you had a question there. What's it about LinkedIn, tracking LinkedIn leads? What are you talking about there, Mike?
Yeah, I think I've missed something in the beginning. Are we talking about lead generating companies that generate lots of leads that are cold or maybe warmish, and using the software for those? Or can we use it for LinkedIn connections?
Well, it comes down really like back to having the phone numbers, because right, this is just phone AI, so it's making phone calls. And so if you like, I've got a lot of people on LinkedIn. That's my main source of contacts and through socials. But a lot of my cases, I still got to go do the type, get the text message through to get the phone number, and then building that up overall, then be able to potentially keep people up to speed on what's going on. Then you can survey and so on, but you need to have the database first. But you have to have that phone list first.
But you could certainly use a tool like Lusher. So Lusher is a tool there that will search for your ideal contacts in LinkedIn. They use LinkedIn, but they use other data across the web as well, but primarily it's LinkedIn. So to bring in their phone numbers or email addresses, their position, the company they work for, where they're located. So you can put in all those parameters, but you'll have the phone number there. So, if you've scraped maybe 1,000 leads from LinkedIn, using a piece of software like Lusher, then that there, I would presume, could connect through to this calling software to then go and make that initial outbound phone call.
And then Jim, would the AI groom those people rather than comes on heavy with the sales in the beginning.
Well, that's the messaging that you want, right? That's what sets up what type of tone do you want to have in those conversations. So if you basically want to, as an introduction call, to be able to just in touching base, it doesn't have to be selling, because it basically what you want to do is just get to having a phone call, right? So it's basically just touching base, having a phone call with them, and then be able to go, hey, and we'd love to have a chat. When's a good time to have a call?
A couple of weeks ago in this program with Nick, we learned that conversations is actually more important than content.
Absolutely. Well, and it's touching base because it's like, this is in a lot of cases, this will be the first point of contact with some customers, and it'll still be relatively positive, because I've had calls with call center people, and they're not positive. And where this isn't designed to be confrontational. It's about starting a conversation.
And I think Jim, sort of part of the process with this is that you're feeding the AI voice agent the information. So it's just like ChatGPT, you know, when you're priming, you know, ChatGPT with, you know, all the background about your company, all the questions that people ask, the sort of common or how you answer those questions as well. So you're feeding it all that information first, I'm sort of presuming, and then as it's making the calls and having conversations with people, then they're coming up with other questions or objections or whatever, and it's searching. So then it's got a database of information. It can search through and think what's the best answer to give them, and gives them that answer. And if or if it can't find anything, then he's looking. Then it will pass it over to a live human. Is that the sort of idea?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, or sort of was wondering how it might work for you know, someone in your business? I'm looking at who's online here, just sort of looking at the sorts of businesses that you might have. I think it's probably fair to say too, Jim, that this is not replacing people, is it? Like replacing the people. What it's doing is it's part of the process to help with those connections with people before it hands over to a human, a live human.
Absolutely. And like, it's taking those repetitive tasks away, and I think that part's key, and just becoming more efficient in those phone calls. And where, like you were saying before, people will find, in a lot of cases, a call center is an entry-level role, and so there's an opportunity for that person who's been there for a while to move into another role within the organization. In some cases, maybe moving on to another role elsewhere, but it's not designed to be. I think, which was the biggest fear about AI voice, especially, was having a massive unemployment line being formed, because, like I say, the organization is becoming more efficient with less costs, because between rent and all the other services that AI is replacing, will help still maintain those and efficiencies that are sales efficiencies and revenue efficiencies that are made, will still enable people still to be employed. So it's not about replacing everybody, that's for sure.
Actually, it just reminded me, I was on a session with someone in the States who's works with speakers to get gigs with agencies, and so she had a process of going through Google search to find these events and organize and whatever, and to get their emails and phone numbers. And then the process is you manually give them a call, send them an email, give them a call to say, hey, look, just wondering whether you got any you know, speaking gigs or openings for speakers for, you know, your next conference, that sort of thing there. So, you know, you might in the course of a day, you might be able to make sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 calls to you know, to those sort of conference organizers. But to accelerate the whole process, you know, if you're able to do those searches, and again, you can use AI to assist with some of that there to get the phone numbers and the email addresses, and then you can use a system like this here. And so instead of calling 3 to 5 people, you might be calling sort of 50 or 60 people. And so you've got far more likelihood of, you know, being able to get through to someone that can actually wants to book you for speaking, which is, you know, her sort of thing.
Absolutely. And also too, when it comes to time, right? When you go the time zone differences between here and the US. So instead of being up in the middle of the night, making the calls to suit them, the AI is doing that. And so it's like, again, it makes your life just makes it a lot more simpler to be able to do that. And then getting the information and getting all the call reports so that you're getting all the information that you need. So as to be able to understand what's happened on those phone calls. And hopefully solve those problems. And like I said, same thing too, it's surveying. Like I say, again, with the sports clubs or any business should be surveying their database and their customer base on a regular basis. And here's an easy way to do that. Again, staff don't want to be sitting there in a call going, oh my God, I'm going to hear things that I don't want to hear about our service. And you go this way, the call is made, there's no judgment being made, and taking on the good and the bad of that survey and that information coming back, and you get more truth to those phone calls as well. And speaking from personal experience on that.
What's the with phone calls? One of the things that I don't know whether it's our age group or sort of a younger age group, they don't answer the phone. So, you make the calls, they don't answer the phones. So how does a tool like this deal with that?
Well, same thing, I guess. Well, initially, it's going to be just leaving that message, and it can go for a long-winded message. And it's how you would set that up. So if you have if that becomes a continual problem, and then you're going to be able to have that. And I think there's also an app that puts that to speech to text as well. So be able to get that text message across.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we've come to towards the end of the session. Anyone got any last questions at all, or anything that that this has brought up?
Just if we can get the contact details for Jim, if you have any further queries on this matter.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my LinkedIn's in the, so just connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we'll be able to give you a call. That would be great.
Not too many Jim Dorashes on LinkedIn?
No, I'm the only one in the world. So it's kind of cool that way.
Excellent. All right. I was going to say I dropped that into chat, but I just dropped it into Mark only. So let me just drop your name in for everyone. There you go. If you set that on LinkedIn, then you'll find Jim and connect with him. So he's pretty responsive too. So unlike me, so it's great.
But yeah, no, and thank you very much, Nick. I really appreciate it. And for everyone as well, the patience listening to me get through this presentation, will be better next time. But yeah, no, it's interesting, and especially with the feedback and the questions, to be able to see where everyone's at with an understanding of this program. And it's the way things are going to be. Like I say, the more we're going to be getting more and more phone calls are going to be AI generated calls, because it's just going to be a more efficient way of getting some messaging out.
Fabulous. And I think big thanks to you, Jim. Like we got a call in sort of only an hour before we started to throw you into the deep end and say it's all up to you. So let's give Jim a virtual round of applause for his session tonight.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Now we do have a door prize tonight, I think, which is a session with you, Jim, is it?
With Jack, the person who knows a bit more about the inner workings of this. It was his baby, so he'll definitely be able to help you understand it even further as well.
So Jack's a superstar when it comes to putting all this together, and so he's just got a heap of knowledge around it. So if you want to find out sort of how it really does work for your business, or how it can work for your business, this conversation really could change how you view things in terms of your ingoing and outbound calls. Or if you're not making calls, it might help you do it and generate business as well too. So we've got everybody's name in the wheel of names. I know a couple of people just had to disappear early, so if it lands on them, we're going to draw it again. So let's spin the wheel and see who our lucky winner is tonight. As it clicks around and ducks around and has landed on, here we go, Peter D. Are you still here, Peter D?
Yes, I am.
You are fabulous. Excellent. Oh, congratulations, mate. You are the lucky winner of that conversation. You'll really enjoy that. I know these two boys that have put this together are exceptional. They're very skilled, talented people, in this particular area here. So we'll hook you up tomorrow. We'll send we'll do the introduction for you tomorrow. Yep. So we'll have your email address there, Pete. So we'll hook you up by email. So look out for that, and then you can organise a time to catch up with them.
Perfect. And if I was going to say, if anybody else wants some more information, please contact me. Happy to take some more calls and get some more information into your hands, and be able to be of assistance anytime you need.
Okay. So yeah, if you hook up with Jim on LinkedIn, just search his name on LinkedIn, and you'll see the other founders there, Jack and Jonas, isn't it?
Yep.
Connected to him as well too. So and you can sort of see a bit more about it. If you want to check out the tool, the link is in chat as well too. So go and make that virtual phone call. You'll get an experience of how it works. I have to say I was quite impressed with it. I was expecting it to be a bit AI sounding, but it was hard to tell the difference. So so the link for that is in the chat. Now's a good time to save the chat. So if you open chat, click the three little dots on the top right hand side, you can save it, and then you just click on the link and go through and check it out. The link to this program will be up on the Smashco YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon as well. So, if you know anyone else that's interested in this or might benefit from this as well too, feel free to send them along there. Or if you want to watch it again, it'll be up there for you tomorrow as well. And as I say, the Canva Mastery for Business workshop, that is happening tomorrow evening, starting at 5:30. So if you're interested in registering for that, the link is in chat. If you want to find out a bit more info about it too, more than happy to either email me, call me, and happy to chat through that with you as well too. And of course, if you are not a member of the Facebook group, Business Owners Smashing Online, go and join that, and go and introduce yourself there. And these action tools are all there as well too. So once again, Jim, thank you for your time tonight. Everyone, I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've got some things out of it. Hopefully it's opened your eyes about some possibilities that are out there and coming as well too. All right, we're going to have a good evening, and we will see you back here same time next week.